Hello, my name's Steve Barrett. I'm the editor-in-chief of PR Week. I'm delighted to be here with John Echeveste, who's the founder and partner of VPE Public Relations, a Hispanic specialist agency. John, welcome. Good to have you here. You've been going 24 years. You've got a 20-year relationship with McDonald's. I wanted to ask you, what does a specialist multicultural or Hispanic agency do in the mix? What's the argument for having a specialist agency versus using a generalist?
I would say the easiest answer to that is that we live the market that we serve. All of my staff is Hispanic, bilingual, bicultural, about 15 people right now, and they're all very involved in the Hispanic culture. We have account executives who have come to us from El Salvador, from Venezuela, from Mexico, from other Latin countries. And they're all very much involved in what happens in our market from many different aspects, culturally, politically, economically as well. So they have a real passion for the market. They bring that passion to the work that they do. And I think that we're very much in touch with what's happening in our market on many different levels.
Do you think that's harder to develop within one of the big network agencies, that sort of capability?
Yes, definitely. We are a member of the Public Relations Global Network, which is an organization of about 42 to 44 agencies around the world. In fact, we just returned from our annual meeting in Cape Town, South Africa, which was a great experience to see that part of the world. So we serve as the Hispanic members and the Los Angeles members of that network. And because of the growth of the market, we also recently added another agency in Miami that also does Hispanic work too. So that kind of gives us coverage on both coasts.
Okay, and then when you're working with McDonald's, presumably you work very closely with their other agencies such as Gold and Harris.
Exactly. This is our 20th year now with McDonald's, which really makes us the new kids on the block when you look at the service.
That's 50 years for Gold, isn't it?
Yeah, we've learned a lot working with McDonald's over the last 20 years. I mean, they're a company that has a very real commitment to multicultural issues. And the marketing mantra at McDonald's is that we lead with ethnic insights. They recognize the importance of their Hispanic, African American, Asian American markets and what that means for the future of the brand. So that every initiative that McDonald's develops, whether it's a marketing initiative, a CSR initiative, a food initiative, must take into account ethnic perspectives, okay? And that's much of what we do for them too.
And you've been picking up a lot of work outside the US as well. Is that for clients like McDonald's or is that for other clients?
Mainly other clients. What we're seeing is a new pan-Latino approach to marketing too, because there's of course a lot of cross-exchange with Latino celebrities for one thing. We're seeing some marketing campaigns that fit not only US Hispanics but Latinos in Latin America as well too. So we've been working the last several years, for example, with a Mexican broadcaster that leases a Spanish language channel in Los Angeles. We also are working, it goes both ways. We've also been working recently with the American Academy of Ophthalmologists, which has launched a Spanish language website that is going into Latin America. And we recently started work with a mutual fund based in Bolivia that is marketing a portfolio of funds to U.S. investors registered in the U.S. That invest in Latin American companies. So we're seeing more and more of that, and we'll be working more with our PRGN partners in Latin America and in Miami to capture some of that business.
Yeah, it's a massively growing market. I think it's 30% of the market is going to be Spanish speaking. And Fox is launching a new Spanish language channel. Is that a big milestone?
What's happening too is that the market's important when you see major media companies focusing attention and resources. And in fact, just on the way over this morning, there was an announcement that came through, and this had been rumored for a while, that Univision and ABC News are joining forces to start a new news channel for Latinos. What's really interesting about that, though, I think, is that network will be in English, okay? Just as Cosmopolitan recently launched a new magazine for Latinas that's also in English.
That's right, we profiled there.
So the market is becoming more bilingual because immigration has pretty much flattened out. So most of the births that are happening, most of the population increase is within the country, okay? Which means that those kids are growing up being bilingual, which is of course a great asset to have, and consuming both English and Spanish language media as well too.
And of course you can't just lump the whole market together. It's a very diverse market in its own right, which is very obvious in those Fox adverts. It's something they've played on a lot.
Very much, and the first thing that we always talk to clients about is when they say we want to do a Hispanic market campaign, what segment of the market do you want to reach? Because it is not a monolithic market. It's not a one-size-fits-all market by any stretch of the imagination. I think one of the most dynamic segments of the market right now is that teen segment that will account for about 95% of the growth of the teen population over the next 20 years. Okay, so that's going to be growing, and that's a market that is very much enmeshed in both cultures. So they have one foot in the English language culture, another in the Spanish, and they bring the best of both of them to create what's really coming up as a whole new culture.
Finally, John, last year PR Week teamed up with the Council of PR Firms to launch the Diversity Distinction in PR Awards.
Yes,
and really that was in response to the lack of diverse faces at the top of agencies. Lots of different people come into the industry, including probably 65% female. But that and ethnic diversity just isn't represented at the top levels of agencies. You only have to look at the pictures of the top 12 in our agency business report. What's your view on that, and what needs to be done to get more role models and more people into senior positions?
Well, I can tell you that from where I sit in Los Angeles, and when I speak on college campuses, whether it's Cal State Fullerton or Cal State Dominguez Hills or USC or others, I see a large number of Latinos in the public relations classes. So I know that they're out there. And I think it's incumbent upon the industry to make a stronger effort to bring them in. I think that one of the reasons that Latinos sometimes are not too comfortable in the general market agencies is they don't get the sense of fulfillment that they would at a Latino-owned agency or at any multicultural agency. I think that accounts for the level of stability that we've had at our agency, because we've had people there, I think the shortest term person is now 5 years or so. But one of the other things that I'll be working on is creating a Latino communications discipline at Cal State Fullerton, which is the largest Latino population university in the West Coast. We recognize there's a great need there to serve a growing number of Hispanic media outlets and to provide opportunities for Hispanic students. So we're just beginning to put that together right now, very similar to what is happening on the East Coast at Florida International University.
Okay,
so
and let's hope that people then gravitate into more senior positions.
Exactly, it's all part of a process, and you've got to start at the ground floor and build up. But I mean, Latino practitioners, I think, offer a two-for-one deal because of their background in both languages and cultures.
Sure.
So it's a real asset for any agency to do that.
Well, let's hope there's a time when we won't need those.
Exactly.
Those distinction awards.
We're getting there, yeah.
All right. Thanks, John. Thanks for joining.
Okay, Steve, thank you. Pleasure.